Deserted stalls, empty feeders and limestone disinfectant stains. It is clear that Rupinsky Farm in Lithuania, one of 12 former Soviet pig farms owned by Danish group Idavang, is not your average pig farm. With a capacity of 1,500 sows and producing 40,000 pigs annually, the farm has the unenviable title of being the first commercial pig farm in the EU to be hit by African swine fever.
African swine fever appeared to that farm 2014 in end of July month, and the herd was utilized by utilize all the pigs with gas. It was 20,000 pigs buried in one hole in the farm territory. And how we get in African swine fever, unfortunately we don't know. This farm have one of the highest biosecurity levels in Europe. We are still investigating how to get in, but after all reports and from state vets, the European Commissions and other authorities, our internal conclusion is that it came in with insects. After the utilization of pigs, the farm have to be washed and disinfected according to the European law, and that's a big process. It took us nearly 4 months, and it's have to be approved by the state vets that it is washed and is disinfected. And actually this have to be done twice, just to be sure. After washing and disinfection is finally approved, you're putting in a certain amount of pigs. In our case it was 300 pigs in 17,000 square meters for 45 days. And after that we are making blood tests, and to be sure about that there's no African swine fever into the pigs. In our case it was no, means that the blood test was negative. And after that actually you are waiting for the last approval from authorities to get into full production again. We had a very high biosecurity level in this farm, and we have that in all our farms. After the outbreak, of course, we are looking again, what can we do better? There's always something you can do better. I would say the main things that we have changed now is that we are putting up fence number 3 around our farm, and fence number 3 is as far as possible from the farm to keep wild boars as far away from the farm. We're making an entrance to the farm between fence and number 1 through a container, where you are changing your shoes and you're making a hand disinfection before you're going into the farm territory. And if you're going into the farm, to the pigs, of course you're changing clothes, taking shower and changing to working clothes. One of the other things that we have done, but it's not very usually, is that in all air inlets and outlets we have installed mosquito nets to protect against any kind of bugs who can come into the farm, as we consider that as the main reason why we are infected by African swine fever. In a zone where we have an outbreak of African swine fever in wild boars and domestic pigs, there's a lot of restrictions on how are you moving the pigs. It is possible to move the slaughter pigs out of the zone, but the slaughterhouses who is outside of the zone 3 or outside of any kind of zones, they have a lot of restrictions too if they're going to buy the pigs. And it's something like separating of the meat from zone pigs and non-zone pigs. It's disinfection of the slaughter line, it's a quarantine of the slaughter line, you have to stand in quarantine for 48 hours, etc. etc. All these things is costing money for the slaughterhouses. The meat have to be specially marked with a special brand, so it's easily to recognize wherever it's sold in the country. It can't be exported. Because of all this restriction and additional cost, we are considering to go into more vertical business in terms of making cooperation with a slaughterhouse, or even to go in full, meaning that we're going to buy a slaughterhouse. We have seen how African swine fever moved up since 2007 from Georgia up through northwest of Russia into Belarus, and in a year more or less all Baltic states are infected by African swine fever. Small part of northeast Poland is infected by African swine fever. And my opinion is, that it came to Europe to stay here. I can't see how African swine fever should stop spreading. It's spreading by people with moving food, spreading with wild boars. And I can only say one thing: we had a very, very high biosecurity, and my recommendation to other farmers: take it seriously, because it's coming near you one day.